welcome back to the table. This is Crit Happens. My name is Siege.
Hey, I'm Bub.
I'm just Alex.
I am Digit. What? What was the problem with that? Everyone got quiet and sad.
You are Digit. That's great. So
You gonna fight me about it?
maybe a little
I'll
bit.
be
I'll pass.
good.
All right, so today we're going to be. Everybody's got a couple of topics that they wanted to bring to the table and inform everybody of.
That's pretty neat.
That is pretty neat.
Yeah. And if we don't, we'll figure it out by the time it gets to us.
Yeah, we'll just go and we'll just talk about something.
We'll just lie.
Yeah, it's like I totally brought this to the table to talk to.
You can see it.
I know for sure. Bub has something he would like to.
I've got things to talk about. I mean,
Physically in front of him.
Yeah.
I've been busy recently, so I was approached by a couple of local yokels. They have this small gaming accessories company that they're trying to pioneer and bring to the table something a little different. And it's gaming accessories, and what they've given me is basically an alpha kit for a tabletop gaming box that contains bits for card assortment, mini collection, dice holding, and I promised them that we would test their materials, and that we would all get our hands a little dirty and see what they think, or see what we think about the product, because they have promised, X amount of people that they would begin producing this material, but I've had some opinions for them, and as gamers, they want to know what we thought of their material. Now, this is their premier card chest. I can't think of an actual name for it off the top of my head, but it's pretty big. It's I would say it's about 12 by 12 box with various unique things inside of it to hold it. I mean, you guys reach in, grab something by all means.
It's like modular. You can.
What materials is it made out of? I mean, I know it's wood, obviously.
This is
not
press
obviously to
board.
those,
This is
press
the equivalent of like a press board,
Okay.
and something that I've seen. Like, I like the way that it looks, but after holding some of the pieces for a while, like maybe it's just me, but my fingers are naturally like a bit more akin to oils in woods and things like that. And when I press upon the sides, the way that they've made this is through like a laser. They basically use a laser for this, and it smells interesting. It smells like burned wood.
Yeah, I was gonna say it smells. It reminds me of like those old wooden chests and stuff like that.
Yeah. Here, Digit.
Yeah, I'm on the way other side of the table.
And a campfire.
Yeah, it does. It's got that nice aroma to it. But after like holding it for a while, your fingers kind of get a little sticky.
Yeah, it smells like tofu.
I believe the way they make that is with glue. They like
Grind it down into a powder.
And then mix it with like a glue.
And
This
adhesive.
smells like
Press it and
tofu.
bake it.
It makes me really worried about what tofu is.
It makes me
Have
worried
you
about
ever
what
had,
you're
like-
eating.
Yeah, right.
You ever had miso soup? Like, that's what the tofu in.
If your miso soup smells like wood burning, then you need to go to a different restaurant. That's my suggestion.
I'm over here. It's like smells like a campfire or like an old cedar chest, and you're like, smells like tofu.
It smells like soup.
Maybe you should have joined Team Instinct, you glue eater.
You. Oh man,
Wow.
but I don't know.
Hope someone hits your last
it's-
cast, so that's just gonna sound rude as shit.
It's completely modular. You can move things around. Like I'll show you guys here that
Yeah, I like how
each
you.
chest comes to
Yeah.
point. You can actually resize as much as you would like to. It's got a lot of really unique and neat features. It's pretty tightly compressed. It seems fairly durable. You could damage it. It's been designed in a way that you shouldn't be able to, unless you're like really rigorous, I guess you could say. But
Or me.
or CJ, yes, that's accurate.
Who punches
But
everything to make it work?
That's not how it happens.
That's exactly how you described it.
Well, that's not true.
It's
I
got
don't just punch
it's got
everything.
many different size dividers. They're not just doing just these cases. They're making like other dice chests and dice towers, things like that. I've asked them about potentially making a DM screen, like a custom DM
Oh,
screen.
that'd be really cool.
Yeah, but
Like
they
how-
wanted to get into another type of wood because like this, I told them, I was like, this is sweet. It looks nice. It's very clean, but I get kind of hung up on the fact that it's sticky. Like after a while,
Yeah.
I don't know if I would want to put my cards in
It's
something
like
like
a
this.
resin. It's that what it is?
No, it's an adhesive.
Oh, okay.
Because the way that the wood is made after it goes under the laser cutter,
Right.
it gets sticky, and it's just because
And that might also just be it from mixing with like the oils from your fingers and stuff like that. Versus
It's
like,
because,
cards
like-
might be okay.
well, I mean, normal press board won't have that stickiness to it,
Yeah.
but because it's been laser cut, the heat like brings it. You can actually see the adhesion on that right there. It's got its own like glue to it, but that's part of it. But they wanted to know like our thoughts and opinions on it. Again, these are the guys over at Geeks First. There's a couple of really neat creators, a couple of guys that I've known for a while now. But they wanted to pass me off this kit to get my thoughts on it. Maybe see if there is something that you guys would like to see, something that's a little different. Maybe you have some pointers, some tips. It's all designed really well. Everything fits very, very smoothly together.
I would almost like to see a larger model of the box itself. Back when I was playing Warhammer 40K, people would have like fish tackle boxes, like the really big kind, because they were just ideal for those little miniatures. But if you had something custom made for those, that would be fantastic. But that box would not, I don't think, fit a large army.
No, I don't think so either.
But if you could make a bigger one, that would be awesome.
I do believe right now, at their current size, they would probably take a commission order like that. But I feel it's inevitable that they're going to grow in size.
Or if you could stack them, take multiple and like stack them on top of each other in a way that they would stay together.
Something that might help, like if you're worried about like the adhesives and stuff like that rubbing off on the cards and damaging the cards, stuff like that, maybe like some sort of lining on there to protect from that.
Possibly.
Cool, like a felt lining.
Possibly like a felt lining, something of that nature. I like the idea because they said that they wanted to go up into higher quality woods. I wanted to potentially see what other kind of nicer materials that they can actually make.
Or they might be able to like lacquer it, like cover
Possibly,
it, like, lacquer
yeah.
it so it would be protected because like once that sets and is dried, that's
Well, it's pretty sturdy.
It's not gonna have any
It's
of those issues.
modular. What I found out from their implicit design is that when you order these, you actually have to build your kit. It
that's
doesn't.
cool.
It doesn't come like this. You actually assemble it yourself, which I thought was pretty interesting. I personally am pretty lazy in that regard, so when he brought it to me like this, I was like, "Oh, this is amazing!" And he's like, "Yeah, other people will actually have to put theirs together." I was like, "Oh, okay." I'm glad you did the work
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm good.
Like, what does that
It's fine.
entail?
Yeah, but they've got a bunch of different things, a lot of things that you can check out.
I do like how it's customizable, how you can move it around and adjust it to your needs.
Yeah, and like
I
they
mean, and a lot
they
of people,
slap
I
my
think-
logo on the top, so like how can I get mad about that?
Definitely not.
That's pretty sick. I'm pretty happy with it. Right now it's a nice display piece because I don't have like anything else other than my business cards with my logo on it. But hell, I mean, outside of this, trying to kind of pass this around. If you guys wanted to give it a run, screw around with it, you can.
Probably do so after the cast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't play well
Yeah.
on the mics, but
Wow, this is so great.
If only you could see what all I'm
Can
doing.
anyone
right
hear
now.
that? Cool.
Glad Gidget.
But
Glad.
it's a really cool box, and you said it's made by Geeks First.
It is. It's made by Geeks First. It's a tabletop gaming accessory company. They're getting into many different things. You can currently check them out at geeksfirst.com. That's GEEKS1ST.com. And they have an Etsy that's up live where you can begin buying things. I actually believe that they're starting to come up with a modular design to D6s. I'd recently spoken with them, and he had a business card that he wanted to. It's a wooden business card that you can actually pop
yeah.
out the sides of a D6 on and assemble your own hollow D6,
Oh, that's kind of
which I thought was awesome. I was like, wow, that's really fucking cool.
Didn't
And-
you speak to him about their logo too?
Yes,
That
yes.
was really great.
Yes.
And I'll go ahead and put this up on the cast so
Yeah,
everyone
you
knows what we're
guys-
talking about.
You guys can check it out. I mean, they right now they're looking at copywriting some things and making sure their name has not been taken as of this moment.
yeah.
Because I guess there's already a group that's something similar out of Norway or something like that, but they've been inactive for years. But I was looking at it before he said anything. I was like, so your name is Geeks Die First? Because underneath Geeks, there's just 2 dice underneath that. And it's just like Geeks Die and then First is afterwards. And they're like, no, how would you get that? I was like, because there's die underneath the Geeks. Geeks Die First. It's like, "Hi, I didn't even see that." I'm like, how could you not see it? It's your logo.
It's also pretty redundant. It's
So,
like,
yeah,
but no,
it's a really cool. I mean, I like the logo, but yeah, it definitely looks like that those dice are supposed to be incorporated into the name of.
Yeah, I
of
agree.
what's going on
I
there.
completely agree. I like it because I can potentially change this into a dice chest, like a large scale dice chest.
Oh yeah, it definitely looks like it.
Because right now I'm just using a fucking cardboard box,
Mm-hmm.
and
Insane.
I don't want that anymore.
Yeah, I could totally use that for minis. Minis would be a great way to store minis and sort minis, because I try to use minis in my D&D games and stuff like that. So
Well, I've seen your tackle boxes.
yeah,
that's
it'd
where
be
it
nice
seems
to be able to sort them out a little bit more, so I can get quicker access to specific monsters and stuff like that than
Right.
just, like sorting through my tackle box. Like, 1 second, guys, I've got something in here.
I've
got
got to find a Rakasha. Yeah, well, we'll figure it out. Yeah, when I find it one day.
Well, I can't find it. So we're just going to use this troll
Yep,
instead.
it's a troll.
That's
Use
just
your imagination.
pretend that's a Rakasha.
Lowered expectations.
Yeah. So,
produces rainbow.
a little bit better organization with that would go a long way. Like,
I think so. I think it could be good.
The thing I got from it, it was like it seemed at first like a really good like just storage device, but like you could potentially make like maps and dungeons with it too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can.
Because like I see that as a possibility, but like not fully developed yet, and so I'm interested to see what they do with this product, as they go forward. And
This is very much like an early design.
yeah,
I think he said technically I have the first alpha kit that's in production, and I've got one of everything that they make. I even have some deck boxes in my office.
awesome.
But yeah, they make dice towers, and I've talked to him about making a customized DM screen that has like an insertable spot so I can put in maps and like information that I can specifically read myself.
Nice.
oh, I'd totally be interested in that.
Right? That's exactly what I said. I was like, that would be kick-ass, because there's been a number of times that I've been like, there's too much information on the table.
Yeah.
If only I could have it vertical while not having it fall over. But yeah, that's just one of the many things. And like have like a dice tower, like 2 dice towers built into the end.
Oh,
one
yeah.
facing me and then one facing the players.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, it'd be pretty sick. That'd be pretty sick. I'm pretty excited for it. But that's just my opinion. And that's what I brought to the table. So what do you guys got? What you got for me?
How about just Alex? What do you got?
Alex, go.
Oh boy, I've been playing video games lately. Have any of you guys played Inside?
That's by the that's by the guys who did like Limbo, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Playdead Studios.
I've actually not even heard of it, so
Never heard of it?
I'm excited to hear about this.
Well, strap in.
I always love hearing about new video games.
Okay. Did you play Limbo at all? Anything like that?
I did play a little bit of Limbo. I didn't get too far
Okay.
into it, but I played some.
Has anyone else here played Inside? 'Cause-
I've watched about 10 minutes of gameplay.
Okay. Hunter?
Nope.
Okay.
I saw the trailer for it. That's about it.
Well, then I won't stick on it too long because it's one of those you don't want to spoil for people.
Mhm.
But it definitely goes places.
Okay.
Some pretty mindfucky places.
Uh-oh.
My favorite places.
It's not a very difficult game. It's very much a run to the right and solve some very basic physics puzzles kinds of things. You can complete the entire game in like 3 hours or less, depending on how much time you spend looking for collectibles.
I can totally imagine my mind being fucked right now because of that.
Yeah.
Running right.
But yeah, I can't really
I've
linger
never-
on that one without.
I've never played a game like that
I
before.
don't know. I like to go left. That's my preferred. That's
To
my
run-
preferred direction when it
To
comes
run left?
To run
Yeah.
left.
AKA
game.
like
That's
no games at all.
yeah. And what game have you run left?
Yeah.
Runned,
Castlevania
run.
Symphony of the Night?
I can never win Mario. It's
True
the
story.
worst.
You
Challenge.
can't. You
It's-
can't.
Yeah.
Like-
I just flip the screen upside down.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was about to go into a spiel of roguelikes that you can actually run left on, but you guys immediately moved to a separate
Which
topic.
roguelites like start on the right and go left though?
I can't think of any that start. You said start on the right and then go left.
Those, yeah. Because like
I'll find one.
Rogue Legacy itself, like that, basically goes up. And, like as soon as you pass the first main hallway, it goes up and down.
right, but
Sure.
like most.
But most of it is like inherently from left to right.
Yeah, because that's just inherent design.
Yeah.
Is progression of time is left
Yeah.
to right.
That's how time works.
Left to right.
Yeah.
Visually
Mm-hmm.
speaking.
Visually, yeah.
Well, and yeah, so I won't linger on Inside very much longer. The other thing I've been playing a lot of is Overwatch. We were talking about a little bit before the cast.
Mhm.
I'm curious what you guys, CJ and Bub, think of Overwatch as sort of outsiders to the game. As
It
far
looks
as
fantastic. I mean, my biggest problem with games like that is I'm not that good at competitive shooters.
sure.
I mean, but I love them. I love playing them. I just I'm never very good, so I don't play long because there's only so much losing I can do before
Right.
I'm like about ready to
Yeah.
flip an entire table.
I have found that Overwatch is a really good game for just jumping in and playing 1 or 2 matches and being done.
Yeah.
good.
I never really play it for super
Isn't that
long
like 8
stretches.
minutes though?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like per match. So you jump in, you play 1 match, 2 matches, and then you're good for the evening.
Though
Gotcha.
competitive matches work pretty differently in that
Mhm.
case.
And it's not a shooter in the traditional sense, in that you have all the different characters with different abilities, and they all function extremely
No,
differently.
yeah, I
so
get
like,
that. It's much more akin to like Team Fortress.
Yeah,
Right.
but like much shorter
which
matches.
another game that I really love playing. So I'm excited for it. I just haven't had the money to go out and pick it up yet.
Mhm.
yeah. But they do a really good job of servicing only the good stuff and not making you feel like garbage when you have a bad game.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
They don't show how bad everyone sucked. They just kind of show
There's like-
the highlights of
Yeah.
the good stuff on the
But
team.
these
at
are the
the
people who
end.
did really well.
Yeah.
And the rest of you, better luck.
Right.
Nick. You
So,
got this.
I think Blizzard is mad.
Oh,
Like
I think they are
upset
mad.
or
Angry?
like
Because
insane.
they-
they are definitely mad.
They invested time and finances into Heroes of the Storm just to find that MOBA is not doing so well.
Yeah.
And that's why they made Overwatch.
They made
do you-
Overwatch because they wanted to salvage Team Project Titan.
Yeah, it was actually a completely separate game. They were trying to make a Memorburger.
Gesundheit.
And then they saw where that ship was sailing. People aren't super interested
It
in
wasn't sailing; it was
Memorburgers
sinking.
anymore. So they just took all the assets,
What
threw
exactly
them
is a
together.
Memorburger?
MMORPG.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure because like I've never actually heard anybody say Memorburger.
I thought he was summoning something.
Right?
Yeah.
That's how
Cthulhu's
you
just-
summon Blizzard. I don't
Most
know.
Cthulhian
I started
fiends.
that sentence before
Go,
I knew where it was gonna go.
Memorburger!
Yeah. There's a tentacle crawling out of your nose. Is that natural?
No, it's just my
No,
Memorburger.
I think going from one style of MOBA to the next style of MOBA is interesting, and I'm glad that they've found immediate success with the creation of Overwatch. But I feel like by doing that, they have abandoned Heroes of the Storm. HOTS is, well, for lack of a better term, it's not as hot as any of the other MOBAs on the market right now.
No, but I think it does have its niche settled at this point. It's like it's a smaller thing than anything it's competing against, but it seems to be like sustaining itself, so it might grow later on.
You want to talk about a game that had huge success, then flopped completely just to have huge success again? Let's talk about Evolve.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Stage 2. That's insane.
How many of you guys played Evolve when it first came out?
I did
I
not.
did.
I
actually-
watched a
I did.
lot of Evolve.
It was fun.
I actually had a pre-order and I went out because I had like 3 or 4 friends that was like
Mm-hmm.
they got the demo and all that stuff and they were like super into playing it and all that stuff, and then like it came out and I was the only one that bought it and nobody else played the game, and I was just like it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing it, but once again I'm not that great at competitive.
Sure.
So like playing with friends is one thing, but like playing with just complete strangers online, there's only so much of that I can do until I'm done. And so like eventually, just since none of my friends were playing, Evolve just kind of I lost interest. I think I ended up trading in my copy. So I'm excited that it's back and free. 'cause
Yeah.
now I actually have friends that'll play it.
I had heard there like about 90% or like 93% of the population just sort of went away from the game. So there was very, very few people actually playing
In
it.
May, they had
Yeah.
less than 600 players.
Holy shit.
And then the moment they announced free to play, it jumped to like I think 1,000 shy of 1 million.
Yeah. Which is
Nice.
going to happen on like the initial release of it, but we'll have to see where that settles.
People really like the game. The game's a lot of
I think-
fun.
They
Yeah.
made some really smart changes too. From
They
what I
made-
understand, because I haven't played it since they've done all this stuff. But,
Sure, yeah.
when it first came out, it was extremely
Slow.
slow, and
Slow to
also
progress, yeah.
if you had one bad person on your team out of the 4 who just wasn't playing their class, I don't want to be one of those people, but like it was a very difficult game to like if your hunter was not very good at throwing that dome down and catching the monster, then you spent the entire game just running in circles.
Well, that was the thing. Is like you had to have a good hunter, or else the entire game was impossible.
Right, and now everyone on the team can sort of fill that role.
You say, I do feel like at least when I played initially, because I haven't actually been able to play. I downloaded it, but I haven't played it yet since they went free to play. But like some of those roles, like the only role that you can kind of like the assault was basically the only class that it was there. It was useful because it put out a bunch
Right.
of damage, but like it wasn't integral to the entire success of the thing. Like if you had like a bad healer and a bad trapper were the two big things.
Right.
If
Yeah.
like, you didn't have a good healer or a good trapper, your team was doomed.
Right. You could survive without an assault, but winning was extremely difficult.
Yeah.
Not to mention, as the monster, the early game of it was like a very slow, like drog where you couldn't do anything. And now it's like you can fight at any stage. It's just like varying levels of difficulty.
Yeah.
Where initially because the idea was it was hunting and then getting hunted by the end of it, but very very few people really found that engaging, and because once you got to a certain level, the monster didn't leave any tracks, so you weren't really tracking anything, you were just wandering aimlessly, and like the first 20 to 30 minutes was just the hunter walking around aimlessly.
I've not seen a game last that long since it's come out, since I've been watching it again.
Right. Yeah.
Most games last 10 minutes, 15 minutes at the longest.
It's a much shorter exchange, which is much more like was it recursion cycles, to use like the technical term, but just like when you go from being idle to like active, idle to active, etc., etc. It's a game that's much more engaging more consistently, which some people don't like, because like the people who stuck around were the people who really liked that sort of slow-paced gaming. But in fairness, I don't think it did much with it, and that if you weren't willing to RP it, there was nothing there for you. So I think the change made a whole lot of sense.
Maybe if it's for the roleplay sense, I feel like there's still a lot to take from the game itself, in regards to maybe formats for like myself as a dungeon master.
Yeah.
Stage design is really interesting. How they handled the vertical levels of things is really kind of cool. The caricature design, the monster design is nuts.
Yeah, I really like the creatures.
The creatures are really
Like,
cool.
You had Cthulhu Batman,
Yeah.
as in Cthulhu Bat and Man, not Cthulhu Bruce Wayne.
I was like
Bruce
Bruce
Wayne.
Wayne. Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Bane.
I
Oh,
broke
God,
my own
brain.
back.
Broke his own back and lost his mind.
Yeah, no joke.
I also noticed it seems like some of the other changes they give you some more options, because like I remember when I first played, you had your first set of hunters, and then you had like one monster that you can play, and I remember progression to unlock new monsters and new hunters was really slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it was excruciatingly slow to get to the next monster and unlock stuff. And plus, also unlocking all of your abilities as a monster.
Especially if you were playing multiple classes and sort of playing
Yeah.
the field a little bit. If you focused on one thing, you could unlock things.
And progression is still pretty slow from what I've heard, but like overall things are a lot faster.
yeah.
What do you guys think of this WoW expansion?
There's a WoW expansion.
Don't know anything.
Yeah.
Tell me about the WoW expansion.
Yeah.
I can't recall what it is called,
I
but
think it's
Is it League?
Legion.
Legions. Yeah, I
Legions.
think that's what it is. I think it's their slated last expansion for the game.
Oh wow.
It's either their last or second to last.
Second to last, something like that. And I've heard a lot of people have been going back to the game just to see if there is, if the game is anything like vanilla WoW back when
Yeah.
that was a thing. But since they shut down Nostalrius, you heard about that, right?
Yeah.
The large vanilla server that was player ran.
I did not actually hear that. No.
It was something like, how many people were playing on this server?
There was several. They had said several 100,000. One report had said almost 1 million, but I doubt
think
that
it was.
claim.
I think it was 100,000 plus players.
Yeah.
We're on a player
There
ran
was
server.
a significantly large amount of people playing on the server. Is the point?
Well, WoW Blizzard shut it down because it goes against their terms of service, because they effectively lost income, and instead of suing them, they just shut it down.
It's debatable if they were actually losing income. That's
No, I mean, I don't
bordering
think
on
it's debatable. I
semantics.
think they just did. They lost income. They lost
But,
income
like,
possibilities.
I think the thing that's true is that they have to shut these sort of things down because legally it sets a precedent if they don't.
I think
And
they need
that's
to
why.
take advantage of this because they have a game that was, it was on the top. I mean, it's not an arguable statement. It was one of the largest, if not the largest, played game in the world.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
And
As far as MMOs go, I think it still is number one.
It's still the biggest MMO out there.
and they shut down a server that supported 100,000 plus players that were
Yeah.
active. That should that should trigger something off in their mind, like, hey, why don't we just hire those guys to run the servers? Yeah, let's do that, because that's still more money that we can reap right there.
Well, the problem with servers is that it requires a lot more maintenance and a lot more things going around.
There were already people that were maintaining it.
There were already people maintaining it, but not under the same logistic systems as what. Like, if something goes wrong with a free man server, no one's expecting that to be fixed, right? If it never gets fixed, that's understandable. But Blizzard, which is a multi-million-dollar company, billion-dollar even,
I was gonna say billion.
yeah, like they are obligated to maintain that, and like costs of that are just like wildly disparate. It's a very different.
It's already completely player
environment.
funded from everything that I've gathered up to this point. They maintain everything. There's such a high level of efficiency before it was shut down that it was like it was a perfectly greased wheel. Like, the thing was moving of its own volition, and it made people upset. That's why Blizzard shut them down.
I understand why they're upset for sure, but I do understand the situation, like legally speaking, that it puts Blizzard in,
Right.
and that there isn't. And like there might have been a better solution, but I don't know that because I don't know enough.
I don't know either, yeah.
There are precedents for companies doing things like that. I think it was Crackdown that might have had a player-made multiplayer added into the game as a mod, and they've actually supported that team quite a bit for the new Crackdown game. I think they've basically said, like,
There's a new Crackdown game.
they're making one, and I could be thinking of a different game. I'm pretty sure it's Crackdown.
Crackdown is one where you were the ramped up cop that like
Yes, the super
could
cop.
upgrade his car by running people over, and if you
Yes.
jumped a lot, you got better at jumping. It's a weird, kind of a weird game.
Right.
I remember there was I think a Halo 3 demo
Yeah,
with the first Crackdown.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
right,
if you bought Crackdown, you got the demo for Halo 3 or something like that.
I thought you meant there was like a Halo demo that had like the Crackdown guy as a playable character
No.
or something.
That would have been awesome.
No,
That
that
would
would have
have
been
been
fun.
awesome. But anyway,
That's that was my thoughts on like recent gaming things. I mean,
Yeah.
outside of that, I think the only other thing that I can think of that is notable on my end as far as like video games go, I don't know what it's called, but I'm pretty excited to pick up this game where I get to play as a kitty cat.
Oh yeah, I saw a trailer for that. It looks interesting. Where you get to basically you're just a cat that's wandering around a city.
Yeah,
That looks interesting.
you get to live
I mean,
through
there's a little
the,
more to it than that. I
Okay,
guess,
sure.
But, I mean, basically,
Sure.
from the
very
pictures and
basics
things that
is-
I've seen. It's like you have to figure out a way to get into a building, and like there's things that are blocking your way, and it seems rather boring, but
basically you're a cat that's Assassin Creed and everything.
okay.
Yeah.
It's a puzzle game.
It's interesting.
yeah, it's from what I've seen, it's a puzzle game.
Puzzler. Yeah.
Sure.
But I've always like Leslie will fucking buy it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Like anything that has to do with cats, it's
Cats
game
are hot,
over.
man.
Cats are hot, right? I mean, that's basically like 40% of the internet is cats.
Yeah.
The other
They're into cats one way or the other.
130% is porn, right?
Whoa.
And there's some crossover.
I'm
Yeah.
not good at
That gets
math,
weird,
so
Yeah, there's the Venn diagram does cross at a certain
Yeah.
point.
And some weird like uh-oh.
but- some weird. Uh-oh.
Cat.
We're all looking at the cat right
Yeah.
now.
Everyone forgot they're on a podcast.
Yeah, we're
and
like, we're
oh,
supposed
here
to.
kitty,
What
here
are
kitty,
we
kitty.
doing?
We are certainly people who grew up with the internet. Just
Right.
cat love me.
All right. So, any other gaming info
No.
anybody has?
Gaming
I,
info,
I
I
can't
don't
think of
know.
any other new games out that I'm really excited for.
No.
I know in
Other than-
September there's a new Final Fantasy coming out that I'm super excited for,
Sure.
but that's still a little ways off.
That's always a spin on the wheel.
Right.
Will this be terrible?
I'm hoping
Woo,
not.
I don't know.
They've been working on this for so long, and I'm hoping the new one will be
That's
good.
it's not never like a good sign though. Like that's typically not a good sign if it's taken 10+ years to make.
Well,
Because either that comes
yeah,
out
I mean that's true, but
decent or Duke Nukem Forever.
I don't think it's gonna be Duke Nukem Forever.
It won't
Like,
be.
'cause I tried that playable demo that they had a while back, and like that was really fun itself.
Yeah.
And they took a lot of like the fan feedback and stuff like that
Sure.
from the demo, and they were making a lot of changes and stuff like that. So
It
I'm
certainly
excited.
it certainly seems like they made Final Fantasy Kingdom Hearts, but it seemed interesting. Like
Well, I mean only makes sense because it was the Kingdom Hearts team that was working on it. So
Yeah, because the director of Kingdom Hearts recently took over, I think, during 13.2's production.
it was. Yeah, I think so. Because like they were
All
supposed to
I
be
know
working on.
is
It was supposed to be Versus 13, and then
he hinted at one point with Lightning being in the game, and I swear to God, I hate Lightning. I want her gone.
Such
I
a
hate
flat
Lightning.
character.
She worked within the concept of her original game because she was kind of unlikable, but everyone kind of had that anyway.
She's just Lady Cloud,
Yes.
and Cloud wasn't that interesting. He was cool at the time. But
we're gonna fight, but I mean that's later.
make
off the
an argument.
podcast.
Okay, CJ, make an argument
No,
for
we're-
Cloud
we're
being an
just-
interesting
like,
character.
I love
He's
her
cool.
voice actor. I hate Lightning because every time she shows up, she makes the game worse. The third game, like, you show up and Snow is like in this. He has this entire like civilization of people at the end of the universe when time is falling apart. His wife is dead. He's sad. And he's like, these are the people. These are the outcasts I have. Like, it's so fucking cool. They spend 5 minutes with him and like run away. Oh geez, we'll find Lightning, who's absolutely pointless, and just look at her in all these new outfits, and like then it's so terrible. I got so mad. So yeah, I hate Lightning.
So yeah, we're looking forward to 15.
15. Don't have Lightning. Fun
I'm
fact.
ready on them to stop lying to me, because this has been the 15th Final Fantasy.
It's never gonna be the Final Fantasy.
Well, how can I keep buying from liars?
That's a good
Easily,
point.
just hand them
Easily.
your money.
You do that with every company.
That's
Oh,
not true.
topical.
Not every company's liars. I mean, Taco Bell's made it very clear that it's not 100% meat. Okay, and I don't have a problem giving them my
With
money.
the beefy crunchy Dorito.
Yes, with the Odie crunchy burrito.
Beef-ish crunchy
It's an
burrito.
Effi, all right?
Yeah, it's
Calm down.
It's something ending in a Y. I don't know. I don't want to say like it's waxing in this situation, but I feel like I don't know how many more stories they can tell before they're just repeatedly retelling the same story. It's just a hero's tale every time
Well,
with
to be
new
fair,
characters, and most of their
90%.
most recent characters are fucking boring. They're just boring.
They're just emo bands.
Which,
They're 90s.
Man, I'll give
I
you
mean,
13's
there's
cast
an
was
audience for
pretty-
that, though.
Pretty boring. There's like with a couple of them in my opinion that kind of stood out that I liked, but
Who's your guys' least favorite Final Fantasy characters?
Lightning.
Okay, yeah, you made that clear. That was,
mine
I'll
would have
make
been
this
Hope.
increasingly
I hated
clear.
Hope.
Hope's
Yeah.
pretty bad, but like
Lightning-
he's a kid though. That's understandable that he's an annoying jackass.
Well,
he doesn't
like Hope.
understand things.
I also hated Hope, but what was the girl's name?
Oh no,
That
Vanille.
Vanille.
Yes,
Yeah.
she was the worst. What accent is that?
It's not
It was an
Australian.
Australian
Trust
accent,
me,
it
I
was
know,
just-
because my
No!
Australian
It was
friend didn't know what
supposed to
accent
be.
it was either.
It changed every time she opened her mouth.
Okay,
It
so
was-
it's clear nobody's liked that fantasy, and we're glad
Right.
that it's final.
Right. Yes, the 13 series was
The
probably
13
not
was the least
best,
final
the
of
best
all.
option that they could have gone with for a full trilogy. But
And I feel like it's even less
I-
of a fantasy, and it's even more of a lie when they make a part 2.
and 3.
What?
Yeah.
They made 3.
That's a thing?
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
Lightning Returns.
the
It was all about
worst.
lightning. It's pretty terrible.
It's
There
so
were
bad.
people, people are
God.
attached to this one.
But
Hold on.
I'm looking forward to them
Hold on.
remaking 12 though. They're remastering 12, and I loved 12.
And 7, I'm interested
Yes,
to see what
I'm-
they do with the 7 remaster.
I didn't even want to go there because I'm just gonna fanboy squee over 7. So
The main plot point of 13.3 is that there's a god that took all their emotions away, so that there's some fucking excuse why everyone's playing such a poor role at everything. But like that's really stupid because then everyone's really boring and no one learns anything. It's so stupid.
What happens when they kill that god? Does everybody just like shit rainbows?
They
Oh no, it just becomes
it
normal
destroyed
normal
the planet-
life.
Destroyed the planets, and then they rebirth. They
Wait, you played this
basically-
game?
Yeah, of course I did. I've played all the Final Fantasies.
Wait, hold on. So is like the clothing line that like Lightning is now like the sponsor of? Is this now like canon of the series? Because
I have
13.3
no idea.
ends with like being like a normal world now, and Square Enix has Lightning as an official model. I'm like you can go look this up.
I have no idea about that, but I mean, I can tell you how the game ended.
Poorly.
Yeah, it was basically Lightning killed killed the god of that world,
Which-
and then
Spoilers.
basically a new
That's
world was born.
every Final
No
Fantasy. You
way.
shut up.
What if I
Nice.
wanted to play that one? I don't know. Now
Every-
Oh, I never saw that one coming. She won? Oh, damn.
With the help of all of her friends that you didn't get to play.
No way.
Like
Yeah.
they all showed up
Eh.
and like
Every single character who's way better than she is. Snow is like the most well-rounded character, and they're like, nah, fuck
Snow's-
that
I was
guy.
gonna say Snow's my favorite. Like out of any of them, like it's like there should have been much more Snow than any
I
of
think
the other
every Final
characters.
Fantasy game needs more Waka.
I think
Waka.
every Final
fucking
Fantasy
love
game.
Waka.
I love Waka.
They need more.
Hey
of what?
brother.
Need more Red 13.
True story. Waka is done by the voice of Bender.
I knew that. I forgot
Yeah.
that I knew
Bit of
that.
an interlude there.
So yeah, Waka.
Yeah.
Waka. And they need more Blitzball too.
Right?
Yeah.
Blitzball was fun.
I would love to see them redo
It's
the
actually
way
a
Blitzball was played.
sport that I could watch.
It was insane that they made an entire like whole nother game and just put it in like, you can play this or
I
whatever.
just-
It's on the save menu.
I just want to put it like make it really intense and make their equipment faulty. So like while they're inside of the sphere grid thing, they start drowning if they fail
Right.
to make a basket or
I
whatever.
don't know. I don't know what to talk about because they didn't actually have any equipment. They just were able to breathe on.
Oh, they've all got gills. That's right.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
forgot.
It's magic, of course.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they have to
But yeah.
sing to get the gills?
No.
I don't know.
Why?
All that matters
a
is
question?
once you learn Ject Shot, it was game over. You beat
Yeah.
the shit out of
Okay.
anybody.
And if you didn't-
If you learned it, because you only had that one opportunity.
You only had the one
to-
opportunity, yeah.
Please, everyone saved right before that and just did it till they got it.
I didn't have
I
it the
didn't
first
even
time I
know
played
about
through
it.
it.
Well, yeah,
first time I
but then
played
I
through
just
it.
restarted the game anyway.
I was
Well,
just
yeah, I
like,
ended up
all right, I'll
restarting
try
as
this.
well.
Oh, I failed. Oh, whatever. On with the game. And then I'm like, oh, you could have learned it as a move?
Yeah.
That would have been way more handy.
That year that came out, that's practically all I played. I maxed everyone's sphere grid.
It was a really good game that like gets panned specifically for one moment.
Everyone's sphere grid. All the way through.
I did it in 12. It wasn't Sphere Grid.
All of them.
That's too much.
I just farmed.
It was.
I just farmed the license points from 12 in like one dungeon, where you could just rack up crazy amounts of those points, and then I
Yeah.
just unlocked everybody's everything.
And the only time I've ever managed to break a controller is when I found out that my favorite character was a ghost. When I found out
Yeah.
that Orin was a ghost, I broke my controller. It's like this game is not worth playing anymore.
No, he wasn't even a ghost. He was a memory.
That's better.
I almost hit myself on the head with a microphone. Yeah. Though I will say that hands down, 10 also has the sexiest character, Lulu. Riku also comes in and ties for the next point.
Lulu's dress. What am I gonna wear today? All
Belts.
belts.
I'm gonna wear belts and fuzzy things.
Do you
around
wonder
my
why no one
breasts.
else in the entire village is wearing belts? Because she
Because
does
she
them
has
all.
everybody's belts.
And Waka is like, hey, brother, I fucked up, man. Lulu, she used to hit me with those belts. Real sexy like, but not anymore.
Like in the second game, she
She's
they have a
buggers.
kid.
Yeah.
Like,
The whole
oh.
game, she berates him for being a suck ass.
Yeah. And I like how she's like dressed as like kind of the emo character, but yet she was just like, cheer the fuck up, Waka.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
get over it.
Yeah.
Stop being such
And
a
he's like all
stop
colors.
being such a Debbie Downer.
Yep. 10 has
Wear some
probably
belts.
the most most interesting everything, in my personal opinion. I thought, 7 had the best group. Team Avalanche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm one of those. I'm one of those people. I've tried playing 7 on several occasions, but I just can't get through it because I can't get past Midgar, and I don't like Midgar. I don't like that section of the game.
The one time I really gave the game a serious once-over was a few years after it came out when it got its... it wasn't like the first release, but it was like the greatest edition or whatever, where it's
Yeah.
got like
Greatest hits or something.
greatest
like
hits edition. My buddy let me borrow it because my parents wouldn't buy it for me for some whatever reason.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a way of making money at the time, so I just didn't.
that. I babysat my neighbor's kids until I could buy that game, and then I was like, I'm not watching your kids ever again.
Yeah.
I've got the game.
Yeah.
I've got the money to buy the game. I'm done.
The deal's
Well,
been done.
I didn't
sir.
realize that it was a multi-disc game, and when he gave me the game, it didn't have both discs in it.
Oh,
no.
shit.
Yeah.
Yes, actually.
Yeah, no, I didn't have the third disc.
Finds out just today. What?
Yeah. Yeah, it,
There's an
I
ending
always
to
thought
this?
that ending was weird. It's a
It
weird
just said to be
cliffhanger.
continued, and they
Yeah.
never made another one.
no, like
fuck is
it
insert
tells you
disc
it tells you
three?
to insert the
Just-
disc,
yeah.
and I was like,
I was gonna
there's
make a joke
another
about
one.
that.
Oh, no. And like I was like, dude, where's the third disc? He's like, oh yeah, I left it at my PlayStation, and then my dog sat on it and broke it. And I was like, the fucking PlayStation is so durable. What do you
Bullshit.
have as a dog?
Right?
And he had like a Newfoundland, like a 220-pound
Still
Newfoundland.
can't imagine a Newfoundland just sitting down on it. Like that dog had to like pounced on it or something.
No.
Dude, that dog carried an auger.
That dog is.
apparently.
The
Like,
dog
I'm
is
pretty sure I could
bigger
have
than
sat,
me.
I'm pretty sure I could sit on a PlayStation 1 and not break it.
Dude, those are so durable for just like physical pressure coming down on them.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. I've never been able to beat 7 because of that reason.
7's the only one that I've beaten.
At least you have that excuse.
7 I have on Steam at this point, and I still
It doesn't play well because it doesn't have controller support.
well,
Yes,
it,
And
Yes, it does.
It does?
Yes.
Well, I couldn't get
it's
it to
just
work.
a lazy port. Like, even people still talk about like controls and save points in the same way as if it was operating off the old disc. And it's just like, this is on a computer now. It would have taken maybe 5 minutes to make this change. No.
Oh, just wait. They're up there completely remaking it. So
Yeah, it's gonna be an entirely different game.
I
But
mean,
is it gonna come to Steam?
Probably.
all the other Final Fantasies have.
Not they didn't
No,
all
you're
come
right,
at
they
once.
haven't. No, yeah.
They didn't all come at once. They've slowly been acquiring the license for
Yeah.
it.
Some of them are coming to phones now.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I know. Right now, PlayStation 4's got the exclusive for it. So, so I think initially it's going to be for PlayStation 4, and then it might, if it gets
Trickle.
anything, it'll probably get PC support. But
Which is likely just because the studio needs to get it out the door, and they just haven't had the ability to do so. Studios do that all the time, where that's what happened with Bloodborne with FromSoft a little while ago, because they couldn't develop the engine themselves because they didn't have the resources. They made an exclusive deal with PlayStation. Well, not Sony, and so the game was exclusive, and the next project was like multi-platform. So that's probably what they're doing, because this game has, like you said a while ago, has been in development hell for like forever.
Well, I mean, better late than never.
you're talking about 15's
Sometimes.
been in development hell.
Yeah,
The remake. We're on the Final Fantasy 7 remake is what we were just talking.
it's probably been in the same thing.
No, they just weren't doing it. Like they just. I think they were waiting for the 20-year anniversary. I think that's what they're coming up on, and I think that's what they're
Yeah,
shooting
they-
to try and have
they-
it released for the 20-year anniversary.
They at one point said they had no plans to do that, but people
Yeah. Well,
freaked out so much. They're like, I mean, if you want to spend money on this, fucking yeah, well,
I feel like that was a PR
remake
thing,
that
though.
game. It
I never,
totally was.
Yeah, I never trust it being like we don't have any plans. Just like
No,
just
yeah,
haven't
they knew
decided them.
eventually. They're just like, we'll do it eventually
Yeah.
when we want to.
Did you see that Nintendo's releasing a micro NES
Yes.
with I think
60 games.
30 games.
I think it's
30
30
games.
games.
$60,
30 games,
30 games.
loaded onto it. 30 games for the NES.
But currently, no way of adding games to it. From what I've
Yet,
seen.
until a modder gets a hold of it.
I think
It's
that
only
they
a matter of
will-
time.
I think they will sell different colored mini NESs with different
different
batches
games?
of games.
Maybe. I'm waiting on them to do it with the Super Nintendo, the SNES, or well, what do they call it? The Famicom?
Yeah, Super
Yeah.
Famicom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when they do that and they drop like 30 to 50 titles, or if they're like the Super RPG edition with Lufia 1, Lufia 2, Breath of Fire, and like
Yeah.
And Luffy, I remember.
Chrono Trigger and all these games, like
Chrono Trigger.
insta buy.
That's a game I've never played.
What?
Oh,
Chrono
man.
Trigger.
Well, you
That's-
missed out.
Yeah, you
I
probably
know.
That
have
is a
one.
great game. Like
You
that's
missed
great
out.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Recently a spiritual sequel came out called I Am Setsuna, which has gotten some praise.
It's okay
It's
from what I've seen. I don't know. That's not
I
my.
had no
So,
idea.
I
that
think it
was-
just released like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
it's relatively recent. So
What's it called again?
I Am
Setsuna.
Setsuna.
I Am Setsuna. I'll have to look into it.
It's
Because
got
I
a,
know they actually made a sequel, Chrono Cross, and like it was a massive game, and it was like super convoluted though.
Yeah.
Like, and it was like basically I watched somebody who did basically a breakdown of Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross and how they're connected, and Chrono Cross is basically like a third alternate timeline of Chrono Trigger.
Sure.
Like basically, if this event happened, like,
Well-
and that's the timeline that you go with. That's how you get Chrono Cross.
It's a game about time travel, so that makes
Yeah.
sense.
but like time travel
they
is
did, like,
often just a
apparently-
motif, though.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to make a game complicated.
Yeah.
Like I don't, from what I've
'Cause
seen,
Chrono Trigger wasn't super complicated.
Yeah.
Even though I mean that's
it was honestly like you could explain it in the two routes without those two routes mixing a lot. You really only went back to one point in time, and everything else just sort of like looped together efficiently.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, it all just comes down to when are you going to fight Lavos?
When?
Yeah.
When?
Like you get to pretty much you choose when you fight Lavos, and that kind of determines whatever timeline you're affecting.
That's all I've got, though, man, on the video game front. I mean, I've been doing a lot of mapping and stuff like that for D&D. I've got, like right now I'm running 1 to 2 games, but I think by the end of August I should be running 6 to 7 games a week.
Oh, wow.
So I'm working on map making a lot, missing a lot of sleep. I think last week I put in 44 hours in map making alone.
Yeah. Map making takes some time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've recently tried to do that, and I've been doing that with like Photoshop and like photo bashing and taking real references and trying to adapt that and trying to figure out regionalizations. And I realize I cannot do this simply. So
Is there not a program to just fucking make maps? Do they not have that?
listen, buddy.
There
There are a lot of
but-
various websites that host live map making and things like that, but when you actually want to get into scale map making,
Yeah.
it's very time consuming, especially when you're trying to put in like a lot of shadows
Right.
and various things to make like the hardest thing about map making is the fact that you have to swallow the fact that you're making a fantasy game, but you're hunting for realism.
Yes.
Because the more realistic it is, the easier it is for everyone to immerse themselves in your environment.
Right.
You have to make things make sense within a layout and make it easy to convey too. And so
Yeah.
it has to have like it has to be contextually something the player can use on like their level as being like from the eyes of a person, but also being something that can display your world. Or else you get Pokemon effect where you have an entire village comprised of 4 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I take a different route because I mean I'm running my game in person, so instead of focusing on maps, because drawing like live 2-scale maps and stuff like that
Right.
would be even more time consuming because you mostly have to do it by hand or do it all and then print it out somehow. I've been trying to give like any of my towns and stuff like that life to it, like because I know in a lot of games that like people go into, like especially in games I've ran in the past, it's just like you're in the city, what do you want to do? I'm like, well, what is there to do? So like I'm actually trying to fill it, like like I've gone through and I've listed out like I've got shop names and stuff like that, and what those shops do, and a little bit of like trying to give like my cities and stuff like that personality. So it's not just like you're in the city, like where do you go? It's like I'm going to the tavern because that's the only thing adventurers know is always there.
Yeah.
I recently ran a game of the Sprawl that Hunter was in, so maybe he can talk
Yep.
about it a little bit. And it was mixed responses. This is my first time running this particular system, and I haven't even DM'd since a couple one-shots back in like high school, so it was a learning experience for everybody. But a cool thing about that game is that there's like no map making, but it has built into the mechanics
Yeah.
requiring the players to have input on
Well, there's
the
very
world
little-
and what's going on and stuff. So
There's
sort
very
of-
little in terms of mechanics. It seems it's a very, very narratively driven game.
Yeah, and it requires everyone to input as far as world building and the culture and just like random ideas you have. You can just all right, this is part of this world now, and it creates a system where everyone's very personally invested.
But you
in
could
the-
map make.
and you could map make.
Yeah.
And if you were, I would suggest to do very vague map making.
See,
so
I don't-
that you could fill in the details as you went.
I don't have to. I don't have to map make. But I'm putting a game together for people who have never played before. So I need to make sure that I have the visual representation down because not everybody has that theater of the mind down.
Right.
If
Yeah.
I tell them
It's
what the room
handy if
looks
you're-
like,
I was gonna
they're
say-
just like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Just show me.
I'm currently also putting together a setting, so it just feels like it's congruent. Where I want to personally feel like this town is something that can be alive. That is something I can personally invest in, so that I can play into it a lot better.
Yeah, that's my life in a nutshell, man.
Yeah.
Map making, storytelling, video gaming. It's pretty sweet. But
I believe
get
it.
tired a lot.
Yeah.
I work a lot more than I have at any other job.
That's the
At
sort
least
of the
it's
trade-off
rewarding.
for a creative field.
Yeah, it's rewarding. It's just there's no like
So
with like a 9 to 5, I knew what I was making at the end of the week.
Yeah,
This I have no idea.
sure.
Just
So-
playing the field.
So riddle me this: is the old adage true that you'll never work a day in your life if you're doing something you love?
I don't think that's true.
I love what I do, but I work too hard. I don't know about too hard. I do work a lot harder than I have at any other job just because I want this to succeed. I don't want to fail.
Yep.
I don't want to have to go back to a 9 to 5. And what I've got going is pretty awesome. So I'll keep at it, at least for now.
Yep. I can totally get behind that. Being in video and currently started a webcomic. That's been fun. Which I can talk about more if you guys are interested.
Nope. Next
No.
song.
No. I don't know if I was interrupting something. That's fine. Whatever.
No, I think you're good to move
But
on
yeah.
to a new topic. I don't know where we're at on
Regale us.
time, but
Tune in next time to Crit Happens.
I started a webcomic because I hadn't been doing a lot of Photoshop and I wanted to get more into compositing because that's what I do. I do video compositing and motion graphic animation.
so what's this webcomic about?
And it's called Gray Matters. Thought it was a funny name. It's just about the shit that goes on in my head and me trying to, yeah. There you go. One fan. It's just about the random shit that goes on in my head and then I put down on paper. I really like doing like incredulous expressions, so I just try to distort the face until I find something that's like just funny enough for me. It might not be funny to anyone else. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
So it's an illustrative web
It's
diary, is what you're saying.
Basically, and God, what the fuck's going on in my head? It's
I think
fun.
we'd all like to know the answer to that, or maybe none of us. I'm not really sure.
And
Yeah.
I'm a visual learner, so
Don't
it
worry,
works
no
out.
one will know ever. But yeah, if you want to check it out, it's Gray Matters on Tapastic. And it's been fun.
One more time.
Tapastic.
Yeah, that's certainly a word.
Tapastic.
Is that like a website?
Yes.
.com.
Yeah.
Tapastic.com. Okay.
They're gonna Google it anyway.
Yes. Well, it's still nice.
Maybe they won't.
Maybe there's like,
they
if I
want,
don't know the exact web address, I ain't bothering.
Someone right now
I
is
don't.
like, I don't get it. Gray matters.
I don't know how to Google.
I'm listening to
what
this
does that
on
have
my
to do with stuff
radio
that's going on in
phone.
his head? I don't get
Yeah.
it.
Is this like one of those movements?
So that's a podcast, right?
Yeah.
Right?
We certainly talked into the microphone.